Have you ever stopped to think about the hidden rules of speech we all use every single day without even realizing it? Well, today we're going to dive into that secret architecture of language and see how we build meaning in ways that go so far beyond just the words on a page.
All right, let's start with this simple sentence right here. It looks pretty straightforward, doesn't it? But I want you to listen really closely, because we're about to see how its meaning can completely flip with just one tiny little shift. So if I say it like that, with the emphasis on I, what does it mean? Well, it means someone else might have said it, but it sure wasn't me. See, I'm pointing the finger completely away from myself. Okay, but what about this? Now the meaning is totally different, right? Maybe I wrote it in an email or I, implied it with a clever look. The point is, I didn't actually say the words out loud. And again, let's shift it. With the stress on he, I'm actually defending the guy. I'm saying, sure, someone stole the money, but it wasn't him. It was somebody else. And finally, if I say it this way, I'm implying he definitely stole something, just not the money. Maybe he took the documents or the car keys, but hey, the money is safe.
And this is the mystery we're going to solve together. It's the exact same 7 words, but we just came up with 4, maybe 5 completely different interpretations. So what is this invisible force that's at play here?
So let's get into our first clue and see how this all works. To understand the big picture, we have to start small. I mean, really small. We have to start with the smallest possible components of speech, the individual sounds themselves. Our first clue is something linguists call phonological features. Just think of them as the tiny microscopic properties that make a P sound different from a B sound, or a T from a K. They're basically the fundamental DNA of a sound. Now, check this out. This is a feature called voicing. The only difference between the words pat and bat is a tiny vibration in your vocal cords. For b, they vibrate. For p, they don't. That's it. That one tiny feature creates a whole new word. And it works the exact same way for where you make the sound in your mouth. For the word tap, your tongue touches just behind your teeth. For cap, it touches way at the back of your mouth. A tiny shift in position, a completely different meaning. It's wild. So what this shows us is that these phonological features, they're like the atoms of language. They're the individual ingredients we use to build all the sounds we need to speak. But, ingredients alone don't make a meal. And that brings us to our second clue. So if those phonological features are the bricks, our next concept, well, that's the architectural plan. It's the melody and the rhythm that we layer right on top of those individual sounds. And these are called prosodic features. Now, instead of focusing on single sounds, these operate over whole syllables, words, even entire sentences. This isn't about what the sound is, it's about how it's delivered. It's the music. And this is just a brilliant illustration of the power of prosody. The words record and record use the exact same sounds. The only difference is which syllable we stress. Record, that's the noun. Record, that's the verb. The music literally changes the meaning of the word. Intonation is another really powerful one. If I say, you finished the report, with my voice falling at the end, that's just a statement of fact. But if I say, you finished the report, with my voice going up at the end, suddenly it's a question filled with surprise, maybe even a little doubt. So you see, if phonological features are the individual notes, then prosodic features are the melody, the harmony, and the rhythm. It's the full musical performance that gives those notes their emotional context and their much broader meaning. Okay, we've got our 2 clues in hand, the individual sounds and the music we play over them. So now let's go back and finally crack the code of that original sentence. Here it is again, the same 7 words we started with. But by now, I bet you can already feel what's going on, can't you? It was never really about the words themselves. The answer was a prosodic feature all along. It was stress. By placing that stress on different words, we use it like a spotlight, highlighting one specific piece of information over all the others. And that spotlight completely guides how the listener interprets the sentence. It changes everything. So let's put it all together. We have these 2 incredibly powerful layers working at the same time, and seeing them side by side like this, well, it makes everything crystal clear. This right here is the perfect summary. See, On the one hand, phonological features work at the micro level. They define what makes a P different from a B. But on the other hand, prosodic features work at the macro level. They're what define the difference between a statement and a question. One is about the building blocks. The other is about the architecture.
So ultimately, it really boils down to this. Phonological features give us the what of speech, the specific sounds we're using. But the prosodic features, they give us the how, the intent, the focus, and the emotion behind those sounds. You absolutely need both to create meaning.
It's a whole other dimension of communication that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. So the next time you're talking to someone, try to listen beyond just the words. Listen for the music. What's really being said between the lines?